Hi, and welcome to Lesson 20. I can't believe that we're here. Seems like we just started. Well, let's continue. We are wired to seek the right one, the ever supportive partner, and the loving relationship. If we get all three, it's like winning the jackpot of life. When we meet someone, we dream of him or her being the one. When we are in a relationship, we hope they'll love and support us unconditionally, and the relationship will be a loving one that lasts forever. That would be the ideal world, and unfortunately, the ideal world isn't the one we live in. It took a divorce for me to learn what real love is. Strong, lasting love is not being in a relationship that is effortlessly wonderful all of the time. That's a disempowering way of living. Just like waiting for life to be perfect, human beings grow mentally when they face and overcome adversity. But imagine the power when you can face it together, the closeness that you'll achieve, the intimacy you will enjoy. When you learn to attack situations together instead of attacking each other. I came to understand that true love is a daily commitment to make the relationship great by being loving and attentive in our actions and our words. Of course, there are exceptions. If your partner is purposefully being physical or verbally abusive or emotionally manipulative, you don't want to accommodate that behavior. I'd rather that you go somewhere where you're going to be safe, where you can be whole, and where you can heal. To love is to commit to being loving, even when our partner unintentionally disappoints, frustrates, or hurts us. On days when it's difficult to fulfill this commitment, I apply these 5 steps, and they help me avoid getting caught up in passive aggressive spirals with my partner. When we feel let down by our partner, it can hurt so bad that we become blind from everything else that matters. In defense of our wounded ego, we overreact by blowing the issue out of proportion and getting argumentative beyond reason. Our logic gets hijacked, and we forget to see the whole picture that in most cases, what we fight about isn't truly important. During times like these, I ask myself, is it the end of the world or the relationship that this problem happened because of his insensitivity, immaturity, irresponsibility? Or is it a passing storm that ravages? But we can rebuild from there and learn lessons for the future. Reason flies out of the window of our minds whenever we're in pain or experiencing rage. Our mind focuses on how we're being victimized and blacks out the times when our partners acted lovingly towards us. Whenever I find myself reacting like this, I dig deep. I dig deep in my I am loved list. It's a list I keep all the big and small loving things my partner regularly does and recently did for me, like loading the dishwasher. Remember? Acts of service, that's my love language. Or I may recall that when I was feeling stressed and exhausted, despite finishing work late himself, he came home and fixed me dinner and pulled the covers down for me to rest. I also recall the regular acts of love he does, such as texting me first thing in the morning to tell me that I'm beautiful, making me fresh juice in the morning, giving me massages when I've been working long hours, and cheering me up whenever I feel down. You see, it's important to remember that you can be right or you can be happy. In the ideal scenario, our partner is loving, caring, attentive, and affectionate 24/7. That said, it's easy to be so when we are not bound by life's stresses, problems, and burdens. Whenever my husband, Mike Skirtla, is acting in an unloving way, I try to counter my feelings of anger, hurt, and disappointment by putting myself in his shoes and picturing the responsibilities, issues, and worries that are in his life at that point. This simple exercise helps me to see things from his perspective and enables me to be understanding on days when he isn't able to act in ways a good partner would. Instead of focusing on how he can be loving toward me, this practice gives me the opportunity to identify how I can be loving and supportive of him. He deserves that. Often, what we are not getting, we are not giving. It takes two hands to clap. When our partner isn't being loving, the ego's response is to think, I don't deserve this, so I'm going to retaliate and claim back my power. Such a reaction only traps us in a lose cycle. We pit ourselves against each other when deep down all we want is to feel that our partner cherishes us and is on our side as our biggest supporter. Whenever I feel tempted to react negatively, I take a deep breath and direct my thoughts to how I can break the bondage cycle, that loop of torment. I'll ask myself, how can I communicate my boundaries on unacceptable behavior without angry words of blame, judgment, and criticism? It's crucial to the success of our relationship to be aware of how our responses perpetuate our partner's unloving behavior. The challenge is to swap the unconstructive reflex of finger pointing with the constructive practice of educating our partners on the right way to treat us. While it's important to be the right person in a relationship rather than wait for one, it's critical that we be loving and kind. Being loving should not happen at the expense of our sense of self-worth. So I want to be clear that I'm not asking you to sacrifice or to put up with things that are not okay. But I am asking you to lean in to what's possible when you share in that space and at that time when your spouse, your partner needs it the most. It's a balancing act to be loving, but keep healthy expectations and boundaries. It's healthy to expect our partners to treat us with respect, to prioritize us, to communicate their feelings to us, and to show appreciation. When our partners start to take us for granted, we need to communicate in a firm but non-confrontational way so that we will not accept that behavior. I want you to communicate fearlessly, to live and love a life of authenticity. I want you to have the life you came to the planet to live. And guess what? You've got this. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.